This episode of the CYF Podcast is brought to you by the Niagara Falls Ryerson Innovation Hub. Thank you so much for letting us use your amazing podcast studio located right here in downtown Niagara Falls.
Welcome back to the CYF Podcast, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Matt Anthony, and today I am joined by psychic medium and intuition expert, Lynn Nicholls. Lynn, thank you so much for coming on the show.
You're so welcome. I'm glad you asked.
Yes.
Because we always get to see each other, but we never get to talk.
Yeah,
so
or talk about the stuff that actually goes behind the scenes of what we do together, or just or stuff with your career and stuff. So I feel like this is a great outlet for
this will be good
for the both of us. I was gonna say, so you have a great following there. You're a psychic, you're a medium, you can communicate with loved ones who have passed on to the next life, into the next chapter. I think what would be really fascinating, I remember you told me the story too of how you actually got your abilities, or how you actually tapped into it. So I think that would be a great place to kind of start at the beginning. And then we can go from there.
Sounds good. So yes, you've heard the story, but
I have, yes.
For those of you listening who haven't heard the story, so I grew up in a very Catholic family, and I either had a very good imagination, or I was being silly or stupid, so just forget it. Don't think about that. So I did. Now, you got to remember, this is me as a 12 or 13-year-old in the 80s, and The Exorcist had already come out. So
scary.
Yeah. So at one point, my bed would start shaking, and the closet doors were rattling. And I would have thought I was going crazy, but my sister, who I shared a room with, said, "Can you stop doing that?" And I looked under my bed for my dog.
How old were you? Sorry,
12, 13.
Yeah, right.
It went on for about 3 nights, and finally I said, "How am I going to get this to stop?" And a little boy walked up to the side of my bed, and he had curly brown hair, and I could kind of see through him. And he said, "My daddy killed us all, and then he killed himself. Can you help us get there?" And he pointed. And I couldn't see what there was, but I'm assuming that was the other side, or heaven, or whatever you want to refer to it as. And I said, I'm just 12. I don't know what to do. And he said, "I'll show you." So he did. And it was basically like having a conversation with them. And his dad was the toughest to cross over. And when they were all gone and the shaking had stopped and all was quiet, a couple days later, he came back and he said, "Thank you so much. We're so happy. And now I have a gift for you." And I'm a kid in the 80s. I'm thinking it's an Atari, or like a Nintendo or something. And it wasn't. And I never refer to what I do as a gift, but it was, I incrementally got better and better very quickly at being able to know what was going to happen, how to read people, seeing things more clearly, hearing things more clearly. And then, you discover boys.
Right.
And and you go do what you're supposed to do and get a job. And so I became a teacher.
Right.
And I taught for several years. And 2005 was my 2020. So in that year, my uncle died, my grandmother died, my best friend died, and my mother died.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. And then something happened with the funding. My job got cut. And I thought, well, I can either go to supply teaching, which is totally fine. I enjoyed it. Or I can try this thing. I've been doing readings for my friends forever. I can just try that. And within 3 months of doing that, I didn't have to go back to teaching. And to be honest, talking to dead people is easier than talking to 10-year-olds. So
you know what? Well, I would say,
yes.
For sure. Yeah, totally. I wouldn't know that, but you would know. And we've gone for coffee so many times, and you've been so gracious to tell me about how it actually how it works down, how you're able to control your gift and how that works. So could you kind of explain to me, or explain to everyone who's watching and listening right now, how you can control it and how you can unlock it right now?
Huge question. I wish we had hours to take care of it. But in the beginning, I didn't control it. And in the beginning, it was always, teaching a classroom of 25 children with their grandparents walking in and their, dead aunts and uncles walking in. It was tough. I didn't know how to control it back then. There were no resources to figure that out. So I had to learn myself. So to control it, basically it was okay, I'm only going to do this when I want to do it. So people who are having this kind of uncontrollable intuitive stuff, it's take control of it. You decide, you make the rules. So basically it was, until I started doing it for work, it was a bit out of control. I got a lot of anxiety, a lot of depression, because everybody's shit was being thrown at me.
And you could feel everything.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And it's not to say I don't care anymore, because I think I care more about people now than I did before, but you kind of have to not care.
Right.
It's like, that's not my problem, go away. That's not my feeling, go away. So eventually it's a matter of laying down the law. And, they used to, kind of wake me up in the middle of the night and, Lynn. Oh, gosh. Or if I went to take a shower, Lynn. Okay, so we have rules here, guys. And I basically said, please stay away if I am trying to sleep or I'm sleeping, or if I'm naked.
Right.
And that covers a lot of things.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And that happens pretty on a daily basis for everyone,
yeah,
right? So it's
exactly.
like might as well just like stay away from all that.
Yeah. So turning it on is just, for me now, after doing it for so many years, is easy. It's like flipping a switch. So it's almost like if I said to you and to anybody listening, say your name in your head.
Did it.
Perfect. You heard it in your voice?
Yeah.
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 That's how you start learning how to do it. And once you start learning, like, you just bring in that thought, and you could start with stuff like that, like, what's my name? Lynn. How old am I? Well, I'm not going to say. But anyways, 54. Well, da-da-da. Okay, tell me something I need to know, and see what just comes into your mind with the same feeling that all of those thoughts did. And once you start practicing and doing it intentionally, you won't get all that random shit that gives you the anxiety and the depression. So now it's, if I'm working, it's on. If I'm not working, it's off. It's automatic.
It's automatic, yeah.
Yep. As soon as I walk through that door, walk out that door. I don't go around shopping malls.
And is that like a thought that just like comes into your head and you're just like, okay, I'm on right now?
No.
Or I'm off right
No.
No?
No.
So how does
I don't know
for the
how
most
it does.
layman terms and the most like, how does the switch turn on and off?
It's a good question. Sometimes it's hard to answer, but it's almost like, if I had to visualize it, it's almost like I just feel, I don't talk about woo and weird and like, I'm not frou-frou. And
No.
It's like I just send out feelers. It's like, whoop, okay, I'm open.
Right.
So there's no actual conscious thought, but it's like, okay, let's go. So if you were hearing things and you stopped right now in the room you're at, like right now, you can hear me talking.
Right.
And you can hear some sounds over here. And if it was really quiet, we could hear people breathing. We could hear people shifting in their chair. So that's clairaudience. So then what I say is, hey, everybody, listen to the sounds that are immediately available. Now listen to the sounds you don't notice, like the furnace going, the air conditioner going. Now listen to the sounds. Push your ears beyond the wall. So it's like expanding all your 5 senses to create one big 6th sense. And then when it's done, it's like, whew, we're done. And I don't get anything until the next client shows up or one of my friends says, I don't know what to do.
Right.
And then I'm happy to help.
This episode is also brought to you by the Black Sheep Lounge, home of Black Sheep Roasters and some amazing local coffee. You can get 20% off your order using promo code CYF20 when you go visit their website, blacksheepniagara.com. Now, back to the program.
Tapping into that with describing that. So could you, because I've had these thoughts too, where it's like I'm having a conversation with you right now, but I'm thinking of like 7 different things that are operating in my head right at the same time.
Right.
That's normal.
That
yes?
might be ADHD.
Yeah, I have that. Probably some other things too that are undiagnosed at this point, probably. But
Yeah.
is that normal to like have like right now? I feel like I'm with you. I'm in the moment, but there's also a side of me where it's just like, okay, I'm talking with you, but I'm also thinking, okay, I'm thinking of my next photo shoots that I got to do for this client or this or whatever, or like a feeling that like I'm always thinking of so many things.
Right.
How would you advise someone to help better control their thoughts?
To stop thinking so much.
Stop thinking.
Well,
and what's the best way to do that?
The glory of thought is you can actually, I know you're multi-thinking, but you can actually only think one thought at a time. That's it. That's all your brain is capable of. If you're thinking several thoughts, you're going from one thought to another, to another, to another. You can't think of several different things at the same time. It's impossible. So you can either get tough with yourself and say, stop it.
Right.
If there's something, whatever you like to do, whatever you get immersed in, whether it's petting your dog or doing the dishes,
Right.
whatever calms your brain down is
Do
the
that.
best. Yeah. You know, when you go for, when you're out for a drive and you go from A to B, but you don't know how the hell you got from
Right. It's
A
just
to
like
B.
you zoned out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that kind of state you want to get to. And the best time to do that is just before you're going to fall asleep. And just, I know everybody's mind is going a mile
That's
a
what.
minute.
Yeah, I was gonna say that seems like when everyone's mind is
Of
just
course.
racing. Yeah.
So the best thing to do is focus on your breathing and just in, out, in, because you can't think of two things at once.
No.
No, honestly, you can't.
So, because in my bizarro brain, that,
Yeah.
which I'm sure you probably
Yes, I will validate that.
Lynn and I talk like relatively often, like quite often. We have a very good, client and business relationship, but
Yes,
also a
yeah.
great friendship too,
Yeah.
as well. And I haven't been fired yet.
Nor have I.
Yeah, but I think when I'm thinking, and I often sometimes I don't know. This is another thing, but when you're under the influence of say smoking weed or when you're alcohol,
Sure.
and you're having those thoughts or whatever, how can you best control that utilizing your intuition, or how can you be self-aware to kind of control whatever is going on inside your brain?
Mm-hmm. Well, it gets tougher with something that intoxicates you, of course, right? But for some people that are having a tougher time accessing their intuition, a little lightening up via the alcohol or the weed can help. Now, if I'm going to read my friends or my family, I have a tougher time because there's a bit of a block up because I want the best for them,
Right.
and there's some emotion there and some wishful thinking. But if I have even just a glass of wine, and I'm not tipsy, not even a bit,
Yeah.
then I can break down that wall.
Right.
I cannot do it on weed.
Right.
I have tried.
Yeah, you've always said that. Yeah,
Yeah.
You've never been able to do it, but
No.
but with wine you can do it. No,
With wine, yes, no problem. And you'll find people, oh, you need a clear channel. Oh, uncross your legs. Oh, blah, 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 blah. You do what works for you.
Right.
Right? So that can help to slow your mind down. If that's how weed or wine or alcohol works for you. I'm not advocating people go that route
No, for sure.
to go there, but whatever needs to calm you down, you need to calm you down and relax.
Mm-hmm.
Do it.
Right.
But the most important thing about tuning in is getting your emotions out of the way and that detachment from the outcome. So that's why if I have a client sitting in front of me and we're talking about something either so tragic or whatever, and they're crying their eyes out, I will not shed a tear because
Wow.
I can't, it's not that I don't care. If I get emotionally involved, I'm done. The information's not coming in.
Right. And you've said before that when information, we're having this conversation right now,
Right.
information is coming through. Are you picking is your signal or is your thing
My antenna?
your antenna or whatever, is it on or off right now, or are you just focused? It's off, right?
Yeah.
And
So-
because you're dialed in and you're focused
Yeah,
in on the
yeah.
on the conversation, right?
So I do spend most of my life as a normal human being.
Right.
Right.
Contrary to popular
belief.
yes.
I just cleaned up dog poop out of the yard.
Yeah.
It's just I just live a normal life. I'm a normal girl with a special skill.
Right.
I shouldn't say that. Everybody has the skill.
So, and that's my that was going to be another question.
Yeah.
Was you think that everyone has the ability to be a
100%.
psychic or a medium or can tap into the other side?
Of course. So there's intuition, which is your gut instinct.
Right.
And people that are listening know. You meet somebody and you either you like them or you don't like them.
That's your vibe, right?
Your vibe.
Or the
Your
energy
vibe.
they give off,
Or
right?
you have a gut instinct I don't know, I don't want to go to that place or those feelings. So that's your intuition, that's your inner voice, and it's very subtle and it's very quick. So sometimes we don't listen. So that's your intuition. Psychic is when you can tap into information about the future. So what's going to happen tomorrow? What's going to happen with the career? What's going to happen in my love life? And, why is the name, Daryl coming in? I don't know why I said that, but anyways. And then you meet a Daryl 2 days later.
Mm-hmm.
So there's intuition, there that's psychic. And then mediumship is connecting to the other side. And it's not like I see dead people,
Right.
like the movie. They don't look
Yeah.
like that.
What do they look like, or do they not look like anything, or is it just a feeling?
They're just, there's no more body, right? So, and we don't want to see that. But
So what? There's this
they're
ball
just-
of energy, or
you know what? To be honest, I don't know, because to do my job best and to make the conversation more fluid and for them to connect more easily to me, they make themselves appear in their human form. And they,
so can you visually see them like as a human?
In my-
Because sometimes in your mind, like, you know, when I've seen you do readings, and you've even done readings for me, you say,
Yeah.
this person is standing here, they're wearing this, they're dressed like this, and they're doing this action.
yeah.
How do you do you just see that in your head?
Yes,
Okay.
entirely. So
All
if
right.
you picture your mom,
Yeah.
or you picture your friend, that's how it comes to me.
Right.
But I'll know where they are. I'll know that they're standing in this spot, and I'll basically know how tall they are, their stature, the color of their hair, sometimes. And usually when they show up, though, they show up in what would have been the prime of their life.
Right.
So their 20s or their 30s.
Typically.
So, typically.
Typically.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And so they show up to me in human form. I don't know what they look like on the other side because they're just energy. So it's hard to say, like, we see the lights here, but what's the light look like in the middle here? It's still here. The light is still here, but I couldn't describe what it looks like, but it's right here.
Right.
So they, for my benefit, they look human.
Right.
And dogs look like dogs, and cats look like cats, and killer whales look like killer whales.
Right.
So,
Right.
yes.
Could you share, you know, you don't have to give names or super specifics or whatever, one of the, you know, because you've also worked alongside police force, and
Right.
you've helped so many
Yeah.
people, and people have opened up their absolute hearts to you with everything. Could you tell us one of top 10 craziest experience, like, holy shit, this blew my mind, I cannot believe this happened, like type of moment?
That's hard to narrow down. I have helped police kind of on the side because they don't want anybody else to know they're connecting with a
Right.
psychic.
Yeah. Right.
And
It's so wild.
yeah, I honestly don't do. I gladly help. I've helped with several missing persons in the last little while, local, that you will have heard of, and kind of told them what's going on. But I don't want to give that away.
Okay.
But police work is it's
So
it's awful. Like to see somebody, like, show me your murder through your eyes so I can see the murderer.
And you feel that,
Yeah.
right? Like
Momentarily,
right? Like
Yeah.
you feel like
Yep.
the emotion
Yep.
with that.
Yeah. So, just, and I know, like, this is so super morbid, and this goes
okay.
back many, many years, but you are probably, and no disrespect to her or her family, because they're lovely, Kristen French.
Right.
So you know the story of
course.
Kristen French.
Yeah.
And I was honored for her mom to ask me to her home to do a reading for them. And there were things I described to her that she said, the police don't even know that. And I described Kristen's room. The police don't even know that. Like, nobody knows that. But this is what blew my mind, because I said to her, your son, Kristen's just the most lovely energy, and I'm sure she was as a human. I wish I had got to meet her. She said to me to tell Donna, she said,
Donna's her mom.
Donna's her mom, yes.
Right.
You're going to have two twin blonde grandsons. And the mother, no, they can't have kids. They're not having kids. They're not having kids. I'm like, yeah, she's saying there are two twin blonde boys. They're having them, honest. And she's like, no, they're not. Okay. We'll stop talking about that.
Right.
We'll go on to something else. Within, I can't remember the time frame. It was within the year. I got a card in the mail. I opened it up with a picture of two little blonde-haired boys, and Donna said, my son and his wife adopted two little boys. And I just kind of went, like, that just warmed my heart. Like, I just
Yeah, I
was
probably
like,
would have thrown up on the spot, but that's okay.
yeah, I avoided the vomiting, but like things like that. But in most senses, in most cases, what I do is not morbid. It's not scary or spooky. Nothing's going to follow you home. Like when I do shows, I don't know if you were at the one at White Oaks I did. The Spirit is funny. They're fucking funny. And they just want us to be happy. And that's why when they come through, They often say something that'll lighten us up,
Right.
especially if we're having a hard time.
Are spirits with us all the time?
All the time.
All the time.
You are never alone. Do you not read my posts,
So when
Matt?
yeah, I know, but like like if I'm in the shower or
Well, that's why I said I don't want you here when I'm
Right,
naked.
right? But our spirits,
Yes.
spirits there like all the time,
Yes.
24/7.
Yes.
It doesn't matter because time is just a construct on the
Time
other
doesn't
side.
exist.
It doesn't exist.
It doesn't even exist here. We made it up.
We made it up,
Right.
Right. Okay, I believe that too.
Yeah.
I believe that time
Yeah.
doesn't. And,
No.
and even in the grand scheme of things, I think that Earth and what we've done is a self-constructed thing made by humans, and we are such a bigger species, or we're such we're the smallest pawn in the biggest game of chess, and we don't even know it yet.
Don't even know it. But are they watching us all the time? Yes, but you don't have one spirit lurking and following you around.
Right.
You know, there you have several. You have ancestors from hundreds of years back. You have Uncle Joe that just passed away. You have all of them. But if they walk by and you're in bed doing it, like, they're going to be like, oh, they're doing it. Okay, never mind. There's
Right.
there's no
They're
judge.
not- right.
No
No
judgment.
judgment or what.
Just like,
okay.
okay, hi, you know, bye.
Because they probably see some of the most like vulnerable or most like upsetting times with you, you know, after like say like you lose a job or
For
a
sure.
breakup
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's I say this as like as like kind of like a joke, but I want to know if it's real. And this is such a weird question
Well, I
to
can't
say.
wait.
So it's like my partner and I, like, she said, like, she'll say like, you know, man, I could have swore I said this or I did this or whatever. And I'll say, when I die and go to heaven, I'm going to ask God to hit that replay button, and I'm going to validate that what I said was true. Is that, I don't
It's
even know if you can
doable.
answer. Is it doable?
It's doable. Yeah, for sure.
The replay button's real?
Yeah.
Diana, I'm just letting you know. Replay button, real. You
Okay.
heard it here first.
You have to do it without being vengeful.
No, I'm not doing it with vent. I just, you know, I say that as like because you know, but you're saying
But
that
sure,
that's
you can look back on, you know, that saying, you're going to see your life flash before your eyes,
Yeah.
kind of thing. So when you cross over, you do a little replay of what would happen, you know, what you could have done better, where you excelled, so that you can, if you choose to come back to Earth, I don't know why anybody would, then you know what to do next. So Earth is school, heaven, the other side, whatever you choose to call it, is summer break.
right.
So it's kind of,
But it's summer break for eternity,
as long as you want.
as long as you want.
You could flip right back to Earth if you want. God knows why you'd want to do that. Or you can not come back. But the trick is, you're there to, now I'm no expert on this, and I'm not trying to sound religious, but you are there to, or we are here to evolve your soul, to get to the highest level of our being,
Right.
of the energy, not our body,
Right.
that we can. And so if you haven't learned all your lessons, you're going back to Earth, damn it. So
Sorry to interrupt. But
That's okay.
Are we as humans then? Do we have like? Because we always talk about this thing about, like, you know, past lives or past life regression or reincarnation. You know, people can
Right.
come back as like different things.
no, you come back as people.
You come back as things. Oh, sorry, you come back as people.
Yes.
People, right?
Yes.
So how many lives does the average human possibly?
No idea.
No idea.
No idea. No. And I don't even think you would know that when you get over there. You could have 10, you can have hundreds, you can have thousands. Think of how old the Earth is.
We don't even.
We don't
you know
even
what I
know.
mean, right?
Yeah, or how long humans have been around. I don't know. Past lives is a cool topic. The other side is fascinating. I've only been able to see it. It sounds goofy. I wasn't high or drunk or anything.
Right, yeah.
A few times, like during readings, and when it was opened up, it's so cool because, like, not only do I see this table, but I feel this table. I feel the color. I taste the color.
Right.
So it's all encompassing. It's really cool. And when spirit comes and they want to communicate, they do things that give me all the feelings. Like when you talk about intuition's different than being psychic. So psychic skills are your clairvoyance, your
Right.
clear seeing, your clairaudience, clear hearing, your claircognizance, clear knowing, clairsentience, clear feeling, and it goes on. And everybody's good at one of them over the others. So for those that are listening and they're struggling, I can't hear things, but I see things really well. Go with that. Don't struggle, because the more you struggle, you know, the further off it gets pushed. But they will try and involve all your senses when they're trying to give you a message. So pay attention.
Pay attention.
Yeah.
Like I'm consistently, David's in the office. David, the intern. Right. Shout out David.
Hi, how are you?
You know, it's, you know, I always see 111 222
Oh,
1
I
2
love
3
that.
4.
Yes.
God, it gets annoying after a while.
Yeah.
Like every hour, he's like, yeah, 111. I'm like, bro, okay.
You know, could you talk about, like, because I know numerology is like another thing,
Yes,
like, too, with
yeah.
that. Like, when you see those types of numbers or where you see that, what does that mean?
Okay, so numerology, I don't know a lot about. I avoid anything to do with math.
Right.
So
Yeah, me too.
that's,
Yeah, I don't know how to do anything with
You
math.
do my
yeah.
math
Yeah,
for me.
I do.
What
I
do you
do. Yeah. Woo, that's scary. No, I'm just kidding.
I let Matt do my math, which yes is frightening.
Yeah.
But, so you can go look up angel numbers. You can go look up spirit numbers. But this is like looking up a horoscope. It's so generalized and vague. It doesn't really mean anything.
So you don't think horoscopes apply, or they're really anything, or you think they're more just
not the ones you find in the newspaper,
right? But so you're saying that they're more like suggestions as opposed that we try to relate to us.
If I cut up a newspaper full of horoscopes and I handed you a totally different one from what you are, you could make it make sense. But the numbers, if you read what's 111 or 1111, what's that mean? And you look it up, if it actually feels right, then it's right. But you can make it feel right. Just
Because you're choosing
yeah.
to make it feel right.
Yeah. So what I tell people, and it's when you see those repeated numbers, 9 times out of 10, the other side is trying to connect with you and basically just saying, I'm here. What do you need? So remember when you were a kid, it's like 1111, make a wish. Yeah, literally make a wish.
Right.
Say, here's what I need. So there's a couple things. It's either there's always somebody with you at those times specifically. So what I would say is, okay, whoever's here, do something else and make it really obvious. So they're not going to do it right away. So I always add on before I go to sleep tonight. So maybe I do that and then I end up going to the grocery store and the cashier's name is Sheila. That's my mom's name.
Right.
So that might happen.
That might be a sign. Yeah.
Yeah. With those also, if it's not a spirit saying, hi, I'm here, I always say, think about what you were just thinking about. Because spirit...
So hard sometimes, right? Because sometimes you just, something comes in and
Right.
then it's gone.
I know. So it's like, if you can catch that, spirit may be trying to help you with that. So they're like, you were just trying to figure out which car to buy. I'm going to help you. Just ask.
So we were just talking with David off camera about kind of like, do we have this enabling, I guess you want to say, like, is our life predetermined? Do we have free will? And my question with obviously this being the CYF podcast is, do we as humans have the ability to create our future, or is it predetermined from a higher being that we don't know or see?
Good question. So this originated from a conversation because David asked about deja vu.
Yes.
And what is deja vu?
Right.
And I said to him, if you ask a psychiatrist, they're probably going to say your brain is having like a blip or a seizure or something like that. Yeah, sure, maybe it is. But what I feel is, and this is just, I'm not saying I do experiments and stuff, but this is years and years of dealing with
real life experience.
Anecdotal evidence is before you're born. This is going to sound corny, and I am
No, it's okay.
I'm far from corny.
I know. If people really know, you know, this is the most authentic answer that you're possibly going to get.
Yeah. So before you're born, you create a plan for your life. Is it every step of every day figured out? No, it's a guideline. So sometimes when you hit those deja vus, even though they're like the most unimportant thing, you're remembering part of that guideline. So it's like, okay, this was supposed to happen. And what I tell people is, if you can just, instead of going, holy shit, what I did this before, instead of freaking out a little bit, try and hold on to the deja vu and you see if you can figure out what happens next, which is cool. So
Right.
there is
And I felt that. I have
You
felt
always
that.
tell me that.
Right?
You
You know what
always
I
tell me
mean?
that,
Yes,
yeah.
totally. It's like, and sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt
okay.
you, but it's like, whenever I feel like I have deja vu, I'm just like, I almost feel like relaxed because I'm like, I know that everything's going to be okay.
good. Yes, exactly. Because it's just, you're getting a glimpse of the plan.
Right.
And sometimes the deja vu is really scary. And
Yeah.
that's just one of those things. It's like, oh, okay. Now what do I do next? It could be a pivotal moment. So you have a general, very vague plan because you're human. Yes, like you said, you have free will. So if you choose option A, then XYZ opens up for you. If you choose option B, options LMN open up.
Right.
So life is a choose your own adventure. So
Again, if you're playing a video game,
yeah,
this is where this is where you're going. If you choose this,
Yeah.
it's going to open this. If you choose that,
Right,
it's going to.
right.
It's not. And this may be a super ridiculous question, but how do we make the plan before we're like alive?
That's a good question, because remember when I said before, your soul wants to evolve. So you need lessons to learn. So part of the plan revolves around those lessons. Whether it's learning to be patient, or whether it's learning to deal with poverty, or learning to deal with wealth, whatever it is.
Relationships.
And it's not just one or the other, it's several. And do you make this plan on your own? No. And this is where your spirit guides come in, and somebody will help you do that.
Who's that somebody?
Your spirits on the other side, all your folks over in heaven that you're like, who wants to help me?
Like family members,
Could be.
friends,
Could be
Todd.
ancestors. Well, I don't want to get into that.
I don't even want to get into that. Yeah, yeah.
That's a whole other topic. But it's like all your, whoever you decide, whoever your friends are on the other side, basically. It's like as if you were sitting with a group of friends and saying, you know what, I'm going to move. Like what do you think I should move? Yeah, you know what? I'd move here and I'd do this. Can you help me move? Yeah, I'll help you move. I'll come with you. You know what? I'm going to stay here and I'll organize things from back there, from over here. So you've got the same kind of friends. So you have free will. The best way to predict your future is to create it yourself. So
Love that.
Yeah.
That's getting clipped.
So that's, you create your future any way you want. So there are young souls, there are old souls. People, you hear that bandied about. Will you know if you're young or old? No. And some people's lives, sometimes no, you don't have a choice, because you were plunked into this type of environment and you were very, it was very much like this. But if you look closely, there's always a little choice you can make that will change your future for the better or for worse. So that's where we go back to that little voice, that intuition is, what does my gut tell me to do? Without getting emotional about it, what makes me happy? And people say to me, they come to me because they're like, what's my life purpose? Oh, I don't know. It's your life. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
right.
What is it?
Yeah.
But anytime I ask the other side, what is this person's life purpose? To be happy.
Right.
Oh, okay. What is this person's life purpose? To be happy. Okay. Now, I know happiness is overrated. That's just kind of a general term for how do things that make you feel like you have purpose.
Right.
If vacuuming your living room gives you purpose for a few minutes, do it, because you'll feel happy. You'll feel fulfilled. Yeah.
Right.
So if grander things give you purpose and make you happy, do that. I don't care what it is. I don't care if it sounds really stupid to somebody. If you want to make jewelry, because when you do more things that make you happy and you feel fulfilled and you feel like you have purpose doing it, that will attract more things and lead you toward happiness.
Or lead you
and
to like the path
fulfillment.
that like you want to go on.
Yes, because success is different for everybody.
That's totally. I'm a firm believer. Someone says you need to have this so much money, you need to have this friends, you need to have that social status.
Yeah.
It's all fucking bullshit. Like all of that. Like none of it makes sense. None of that. It's all like based on whatever it is that you want. That's what I believe.
Right.
Right. And I think it's just like we've become so obsessed, and social media has also been.
Oh, it's tough.
It's been
tough.
because you're playing the constant comparison game with everything. With that, and I feel like and that's part of the reason why I created this create your future. And I remember, I remember I sat down with you like 3 or 4 years ago, and you said to me, Matt, like I'm being told you have to do this merch thing. You have to do this merch thing, whatever the merch thing is.
Okay.
And I know obviously you probably don't remember it.
Vaguely.
Or vaguely.
Vaguely.
I mean, it was like the only like actual reading I ever did with you. And it's so funny because, we have a very open relationship. I can't obviously ask you anything, but the thing is like, I don't want to know.
And that's entirely okay.
Yeah. It's okay.
You want to create your own future.
I want to create my own future. And that's why I said, I've had this idea, and I didn't tell anyone this idea. I think I told one of the, and I'm like, there is no fucking way that you're going to know this. And you said, you have to do this merch thing. And then that was like, and here I am 3 years later, and now it's turning into this. It's
That's
like
awesome. Yeah, work in silence.
Crazy.
Be,
Yes,
be
work
successful
in silence. You know,
don't tell everybody your business.
No, and I feel like I've learned that kind of the
tough.
way where it's like, oh, Matt's doing this, or you know, it's like I like documenting what I'm doing because I hope to one day like inspire others to do the same.
Right.
You know, because I don't have everything figured out. I don't have
nobody does.
you know what I mean? Nobody does, and it's just like I'm here just sharing my human experience with
whoever you can, with whoever's listening. And that what you said there is very important too, because I'm not, like, I wouldn't say I'm inspirational or motivational, but what I can do.
I think you are. I think you inspire and motivate. Like, I guarantee if we were to clip this and say, do you find Lynn inspiring or motivating? I think I would. Okay. We would. I'm gonna clip that. Yeah, right. We would. I think the comments would blow up. Yes. You know what I mean. Yes.
Yeah. But like this, see, so there's my childhood coming back at me. Anyway, so I got to get out of my own head.
So do I.
Yeah.
I'm sure you know
Good
that.
luck.
Good
luck. But a lot of people, when they come to see me, because I can see things from a different perspective and get information from another side, I can get stuff that them, like you and I, all wrapped in our own heads, they were like, oh my gosh, I thought of that like 5 years ago. I'm like, you need to do it.
Probably a question you probably get all the time is, what do you say to someone who doesn't necessarily believe, or someone who's skeptical, or, you know, I don't think there's any sense, because I was skeptical in the sense where, well, who are you to tell me that what I can do with my life? You know what I mean? And, or I think connecting, I feel like you said the psychic and medium thing are two different things. What do you say to someone who doesn't, like, when we die, we go on the earth, that's it?
Okay, that's fine. That's okay. You know what? Everybody's entitled to believe what they want to believe. I will never, ever try and impose.
Push or
no.
Yeah, I know you're not like that, but you're literally saying from your experience, like, this is.
I am like a huge skeptic. Huge. I don't believe in a lot of things that a lot of other people that in my field believe in. So please don't tell me that Mercury is messing with my system. Like, I just won't believe that. I don't. Right. You could talk till you're blue in the face. Like, some things I won't believe in. And that's okay. Be skeptical. Question things. Don't take everything at face value, but don't be an asshole about it. Right. So just be respectful of other people's beliefs, just like you should just, that's a general life thing. Just be respectful of other people's beliefs. Be a skeptic. Question anybody that asks me anything, especially ghost or haunting related. I go right to the, orbs are not a thing. There's camera, there's lens flare, and there's all these things. So I would go to reality. I would go to reality before you go ghost. So be a skeptic. Just don't be a jerk about it.
Right. And with that being said, before I wrap this up, the best piece of advice you can give to someone.
Oh, that's, well, I'm going to say you're never alone. But So trust your gut. It's huge, because we've learned through our upbringing and through social media, through society, to trust other sources instead of ourselves, to know what's best for ourselves.
Very true.
So trust your gut, even though everything else might run against it, because you know you better than anyone else. So do you, and do great things.
I love that. That's great. And we're going to end it on that note. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in to the CYF Podcast. We hope that this episode helped you create your future. Lynn, thank you so much for being on the podcast. Where can people find you if they want to stay connected?
Oh, they can find me on lynnicholls.com. They can find me on Instagram at Lynn_Nicholls. So that's NICHOLLS. No deviation from that, because there's a lot of scammers
Lots of scammers out there. So to the scammers, please politely fuck off, and we'll continue to our regular programming.
Or don't even do it politely.
Yes,
just
exactly.
Fuck off.
Yes.
And on Facebook at Lynn Nicholls Intuition Expert, TikTok at Lynn Nicholls, Clubhouse at Lynn Nicholls. Find me somewhere. Find me on everywhere, because you never know what's going to happen in the future with social media. Go onto my website, get onto my mailing list, so you have advance notice of anything that's coming up, any shows, wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah.
And I will see you around cyberspace.
Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning into the CYF Podcast. We are clocking out. Peace!